Welcome back to the Cricket Corner podcast, where we review the third day in this third test match between India and Australia, coming to you live from the Holkar Stadium here in Indore. Well, let's be honest, there's not a lot to review there because Australia have registered a 9-wicket victory over India and have made it 2-1 in the 2023 Border Gavaskar Trophy ahead of the fourth and final test match which will be played in Ahmedabad in a week's time. Australia needed just 18.5 overs to get those 76 runs, which with Head and Manas Labuschagne seeing them through. Head making 49 and Manas Labuschagne 28, both of them unbeaten and looked in total control. Well, Australia are back, and this has made the fourth and the final test match at Ahmedabad really interesting, because had India won, that would have been a dead rubbers. But now India, I think, have some kind of pressure heading into the Ahmedabad test, because the Indore test has been a complete shell-shocking display, and Australia have come out on top on a spinning track which nobody in the world, we are like roughly 8 billion people in the world, and I don't think any one of them would have predicted Australia to rattle India and completely dominate the test match against an Indian spinning attack which is arguably one of the best in the world, if not the best. Well. So how did the second day end? The second day ended with the wicket of Mohammad Siraj, and apparently we didn't have enough overs nor the time to send Australia back to chase those 76 runs down. So Australian batsmen Usman Khawaja and Travis Head came out fresh, needing just 76 runs for a famous victory. Let's be honest, despite the target being only 76 runs, India did have some hope of securing a victory heading into day 3, and those hopes were intensified when Ravichandran Ashwin dismissed Usman Khawaja in only the second delivery of the innings. New ball thrown straight to Ravichandran Ashwin by captain Rohit Sharma. The first one grips, beats Usman Khwaja's outside edge, and there's like ooh-ah from the silly point and the slips, the wicket keeper. Very next delivery, similar sort of length, Usman Khawaja again going on his front foot trying to defend that, picks up a little edge which he himself wasn't sure because he reviewed it. There was a slight spike on the ultra edge, and Australia were nil for one after just 2 deliveries, and that brought India right into the game. And I'm sure the Australian camp would be thinking, well, hang on, this 76 run target could be really challenging on this pitch, where even the new ball, the brand new SG ball or whatever India use, is like turning so much on just the second delivery of the innings. Well, those hopes quickly died down, because once Manas Labuschagne came, Australia along with the Head and Manas himself were taking the time settling in. I think the first 5 overs from both Jadeja and Ashwin, Jadeja who opened the bowling with Ravichandran Ashwin, I think the first 5 overs of both of those spinners were really tricky for the Australians. They were like play and miss. There were some close calls. They were sometimes getting that odd single here and there, but Ashwin was really keeping them quiet, while it felt like Jadeja was much more easier for the likes of Head and Labuschagne, but Ravichandran Ashwin was really keeping them tight from one end. However, in the 10th over of the game, there was a bizarre ball change which happened in the middle of the 10th over, and I don't know how that affected the Australians or how it affected the line and lengths of the likes of Jadeja and Ashwin, because Australia then came up and started counter-attacking. And I think that over from Ravi Ashwin, which had a ball change, Travis Head just decided to, you know what, I'm not going to stick around. I'm going to hit out or I'm going to get out. And that's what Travis Head did. He picked up a boundary, then I think he ran 2 runs. Then he just lofts Ravi Ashwin over his head for a 6, and then picks up a single. So 13 runs of 4 balls, and those 4 deliveries completely changed the game on his head, because you can see that a bit of change in how you look at things, a bit of change in your mindset really just takes the target and the pressure of achieving the target out of your head, because Travis Head is starting to score runs. Manas Labuschagne then starts to pick up some boundaries as well, and 2 of those boundaries were like sweep shots, which Australia were criticized for playing during the second test match at New Delhi. I think one was a slog sweep towards deep square leg, and one was a really cute looking reverse sweep down to third man. And that was how confident Australian batting lineup was, with Head and Manas Labuschagne seeing them through. Travis Head, as I mentioned already, scored 49 runs of 53 deliveries, a good healthy strike rate of 92, 6 fours in his innings, and that one enormous 6 over Ravichandran Ashwin's head. Manas Labuschagne, 28 of 58 deliveries. He also scored 6 fours in his innings. With a strike rate of 48. And there was just one leg by, meaning Australia scored 78 runs, because I think when 2 runs were required, Manas Labuschagne scored a boundary of Ravichandran Ashwin, and that's how the game was won. 18.5 overs to score those 78 runs, where it was looking like the pitch and the Indian spinner were keeping things quite honest. A sudden ball change and a change in mindset was all Australia needed to get those runs quickly, before even well before the lunch break. And India using just 3 bowlers. Ashwin 1 for 44 of his 9.5 overs. Bit expensive because he was the one who was getting targeted right after the ball change. Jadeja bowled 7 overs, done for 23, and the last throw of a dice from Captain Rohit Sharma was to give the ball to Umesh Yadav. He bowled just 2 overs, didn't pick up a wicket, and conceded 10 runs. No overs for Akshar Patel, none for Mohammad Siraj as well, because India didn't need them, because they were backing their frontline spinners to trouble Australians. But that's how Head and Manas Labuschagne secured Australia's first victory in this series. The series is now locked closely at 2-1 heading into the 4th test match. These innings between Head and Manas Labuschagne reminded me of the second innings from the second test match at New Delhi, when Head and Manas Labuschagne ended the second day's play with the score at 61 for 1 after yet again they lost Usman Khwaja early. Both of them looked really comfortable against the Indian spinners, and they counter-attacked those high-profile bowlers. But similar thing happened again on day 3 today, and this time it was Head and Labuschagne seeing them through. Not that those wickets fell, which resulted in a collapse yet again. Australia didn't have a collapse for the first time this series, and when they didn't have one, they made sure they secured and won the test match. Well, Travis Head was obviously my player of the day today, but the overall player of the match went to Nathan Lyon. I think I predicted that to happen yesterday in yesterday's podcast, that Nathan Lyon would be the player of the match. 3 for 35 in the first innings, 8 for 64 in the second innings. 11 wicket haul for a visiting spinner is something unheard of, but Nathan Lyon made it possible. He was the player of the match. The final test match is now at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, and the test match begins on the test match begins on the 9th of March, and we'll see how things take place over there. We have to see how the pitch is, first of all, because we don't want a turner which even the Australians can take advantage, do we? But then we'll have to figure something out. India have a lot to ponder and lot to worry about how they managed to score just 109 runs in the first innings and 163 in the second. Australia would be jubilant. Congratulations once again to Steve Smith, the stand-in captain, standing in for the absent Pat Cummins. He's done well. Shout out to the likes of Cameron Green, Peter Handscomb as well. Their innings and their contribution in the first innings was impeccable, very important. Usman Khawaja scored 60 in the first innings as well. So the Australian batting has contributed, and the likes of Kuhneman, Todd Murphy, Nathan Lyon, Mitchell Starc, the bowling unit looked good as well. Kuhneman picking 5 wickets in the first innings. So it was an overall team effort from the Australians, and they thoroughly deserved this 9-wicket victory over India here in Indore. We move to Ahmedabad for the final test match now, with the series looking tastier than ever. That's me reviewing the third day's play here in the third test match at Indore. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe if you're listening this on YouTube. Please give me those 5-star ratings if you're listening this on Apple Podcast or on Spotify. I'll catch you guys pretty soon. Ciao for now.